The Great Rift Valley, which cuts across the Horn of Africa, East Africa, and the Great Lakes region, is one of the dominant features of sub-Saharan Africa's geological formation. The Great Lakes region, characterized by live volcanoes, excellent soils, and some of the deepest lakes in the world, incorporating Uganda, Rwanda, Burundi, and the Democratic Republic of Congo, lies approximately halfway along this rift. In 2011, the region experienced the latest in a series of volcanic eruptions in recent decades. Nyiragongo, the most active volcano in the region and located only a few kilometers from Goma in eastern DRC, erupted for the second time in less than a decade. The Great Lakes region in general, and eastern DRC in particular, is notorious not only for volcanic eruptions, but also for its political and social volatility and the resultant flows of people in distress, like the lava from Nyiragongo. This human lava spills over the former boundaries of towns, districts, and even states, leaving both damage and enrichment in its wake. Armed conflicts, including civil wars, ethnic conflicts, external aggressions, rebellions, and liberation wars, have led to some of the worst human rights violations in recent human history. In 1994, between 800,000 and 1 million Tutsi and moderate Hutus were killed in the genocide in Rwanda, following decades of colonially structured tensions and conflict between the ethnic Tutsis and Hutus. Similar tensions caused hundreds of thousands of people to lose their lives in civil wars that rocked Burundi between 1972 to 1993. In terms of absolute numbers, nowhere has the scale of death and displacement been greater than in the neighboring Democratic Republic of Congo, formerly known as Zaire. According to a study by the International Rescue Committee, estimates since 1998, this mineral-rich country, which supplies much of the coltant used in all our mobile phones, saw the deaths of more than 5 million people, with millions more forced into internal displacement or exile outside the country. Uganda, whose western boundaries border with eastern DRC, has over the decades hosted thousands of refugees from the DRC. Many have passed through Bunagana border post to enter into Kisoro District. In 2012, with the latest eruption of violence in eastern DRC, occasioned by fighting between a new rebel group known as Mars 23 or simply M23 and the government forces, the district has once again become host to a major influx of Congolese refugees. By mid-2012, the UNHCR estimated that 220,000 people had been internally displaced in North Kivu in the previous 2 months alone, and more than 50,000 refugees had crossed to Rwanda and Uganda. For a better part of the year, Bunagana, the crossing point from eastern DRC to western Uganda, has been gaining media popularity neither for its beautiful scenery nor for the cool breeze from Virunga National Park, but rather for the emergency relief response these new arrivals require and the pressure they place on local resources. In July 2012, the Refugee Law Project deployed a team of lawyers and videographers to Kisoro to carry out a situational assessment of this latest influx of refugees from the Democratic Republic of Congo. Safari Muganga is among many Congolese civilians who fled indiscriminate shooting during the recent fighting between the mutinied M23 rebels and the government forces. He is now in Nyakabande transit camp, where the Office of the Prime Minister, in partnership with UNHCR, Medical Team International, World Food Programme, and the Uganda Red Cross, among others, have been providing emergency support to those fleeing the fighting in neighboring DRC.
yabara bazi kurwana ngo barwanisha ikaramu wenda benda gufata igihugu bagifate amasase mu baturage ni benshi bakorometse batagenewe intambara naho bari gutera ibyo bunda bikarishe bikakorometsa abantu bikica abana bigasenya amazu kandi batatu kurwana nabo ni bari kurwana abasirikari barwana bafata igihugu twibatuha amahoro duhinge nanga dukwege twakorana.
Nyakabande Transit Center was established by the Uganda government as a transit center to provide emergency assistance to asylum seekers from DRC. The scale of new arrivals warrants the grant of refugee status determination to be done on a prima facie basis. In other words, the Office of the Prime Minister is granting refugee status to all individuals from DRC who report to Nyakabande. Once given refugee status, they go through basic biodata registration with the Red Cross first, before registering with OPM and UNHCR. Most new arrivals, having completed the registration process, normally remain in the center for 2 weeks before being relocated to refugee settlements deeper inside Uganda, where they can be more comprehensively assisted. According to UNHCR, from January 2012 to July 27th, 36,180 refugees had passed through Nyakabande Transit Center, while thousands more were still living there waiting to be taken to Rwamwanja settlement in Kamwenge district.
As of this morning, I have an estimate of 10,648 individuals. Since January, we have been receiving 36,180 individuals in transit in Nyakabande Transit Center. As you know, this is a transit center, and as such, refugees are sheltered here for a very specific period. After that, they are relocated to a refugee settlement where comprehensive assistance is given.
At a sanitation level, we do sanitation sensitization to the refugees on how to keep their their sanitation practices very well. So we do dig. We have currently we have moblets which we provide, and these moblets we dig trenches to put moblets. However, the challenge you have got is that this area where we are is a rocky place, and being a rocky place meaning that we don't go even 5 feet down.
The Uganda Red Cross is in charge of the management of the transit center and livelihoods in general, including providing food, water, firewood, along with communal sleeping shelters and kitchens, constructions of the tents and toilets, and community services, family tracing, and reunification services.
We basically give food to the refugees inside, and as we give food, we also distribute firewood. So we normally get firewood, at least we always get 2 trucks per day. The only challenge in that part, there's enough food we are providing. However, the issue is about firewood. As environmentalists, we are looking at that we are destroying the environment, because every day 2 trucks of firewood, it has a very great impact to the people in the district.
Unaccompanied minors, the disabled, and other special groups among the refugee community at the transit center feel they need more attention despite the limited resources and services provided by various humanitarian organizations present.
hari mu gitondo kare amasasi garagamba, bukeye amasasi garagamba, nsanga bagiye. Nageze Bunagana, nsanga nzina mu Uganda, nsanga imodoka hariya ku mubuga imodoka iri gupakiza, nanje ndurira ndaza.
When we are doing the registration, we also do identification of special needs groups, we call. They are mainly elderly, unaccompanied minors and separated children, victims of torture, SGBV cases, and even single parents. And we identify them, we capture them, so that when we send a convoy of people to Rwamwanja refugee settlement, our colleagues there know exactly who are these people in special needs. So what we conduct here, being a transitory location, is mainly identification and referral of vulnerable cases. Of course, when we receive any protection-sensitive case, we also take action on it, and we treat them accordingly. We have now lately been deployed further assistance on the SGBV cases that were, so far, we had the feeling they might come a bit underreported. Now we have a SGBV also focal point inside the organization of Uganda Red Cross, who will also be dealing with such cases, so that the protection staff, me, myself, the OPM colleague, we can have further assistance on addressing these needs.
The presence of the tens of thousands of refugees in a district that covers approximately 730 square kilometers and has a pre-existing population of about 274,800 is having a significant impact on the resources of the district's schools, health centers, marketplaces, and the environment.
When they came, they spoiled our classrooms, especially as regards the school environment. It was very dirty. Everywhere there were so many feces where we sprayed. They damaged our glasses, like there you can see the window glasses. They used our benches or desks as firewood. They are there in the store. Even our pit latrines are filled up. Even you see we have a school project, the trees. They use the trees as firewood, and they were using them, cutting them, making their own tents. They spent here more than 1 week because we didn't even open the school for 1 week at the beginning of the term.
And then, of course, the revenue. The local revenue. We've got these border markets. When there's this fighting in the neighbors, in the neighboring countries, these markets cannot function. So we have lost a lot of revenue in most of these markets along the border. Unagana town has got a big market, one of our main sources of revenue. When you go to Upper Muramba areas, many markets are now not functioning. Because most of them are actually occupied also. The refugees tend to occupy these areas because they are the free open spaces, and therefore the markets can't operate.
Whereas the first refugees fleeing M23 were taken to the well-developed refugee settlements of Nakivale and Orochinga, these were quickly filled to capacity. In April 2012, the government of Uganda decided to reopen Rwamwanja refugee settlement in Kamwenge district. The settlement, located approximately 240 kilometers from Kampala, was first established in 1964 to host Rwandan refugees fleeing ethnic tensions, many of whom returned to Rwanda in the wake of the Rwandan Patriotic Front in 1995. From its re-establishment up to August 2012, the population of the settlement grew to 18,451, settled over an area of approximately 42 square kilometers.
The first opportunity, we are settling refugees in a place where they are being liked by the host community. The relationship between the host community and the refugees is good, because refugees are freely moving to the host community to exchange labor for food. So there are high chances of doing business on both sides, refugees and the nationals. At the same time, this place is fertile, and since most of these refugees come from the peasantry background, definitely, within a short time, they will be more productive, and they will do very well.
Sifa is 28 years old. She has 3 children, but was only able to escape with 1 child. She transited through Nyakabande Center and by the time of our visit had been staying in Rwamwanja for 2 months. Upon arrival in Rwamwanja, Sifa, like all refugees, was first kept at a reception center where she and her child were fed and given basic support for a few days before being allocated land to cultivate and on which to build a house.
Batusaidie, batuletee dawa, batuletee kama bataweza, batuletee na hingine imabidozi ilishazeeka. Batusaidie, batupatie na masomo ya watoto basome. Bila hii hakukuwa na shinda bako nachezea kule banakuya bila kusoma. Batusaidie, batupatie na banganga bakutusaidia. Juu mtu saa mtu wa mimba kisha kamatiwa hapa kama ambulance haikuye mkamata kuko sana zipata na shida tamu njia. Wala mgonjwa wa kutabanika sana. Kama apate moto ya kumfikiza kule ni problemi.
Though there are interventions which are being made, but still, these people still need more help. Education, health, infrastructure, and water.